Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, my YouTube family. Good evening, my Clubhouse family. Good evening, y'all. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, and you know what time it is. You know what time it is. It is Keeping Up with Congress. Keeping Up with Congress. If you're watching me on YouTube, please hit that like button. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Hit that notification button. Please share, and share, y'all. You know, this is always brought to you by Withhold the Vote, where we hold our elected officials and our candidates accountable. We are looking for opportunities in legislation, y'all. Where's the money? Who is it going to? How do we get some of it? No more do we go to the polls. We will not be going to the polls anymore and voting and giving this thing away for free. Those days are gone. We are more educated. We're more strategic. We're more intentional. We won't be going to the polls and giving this thing away for free. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This is why we come to you. I come to you, y'all, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7:30, right here again on Clubhouse and on YouTube. So let's get this party started. Let me share my screen. Let me make this bigger. There you go. All right. You know, I always like to bring you some reparations news and reparations, but this was from yesterday. I told you about AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, who made a comment about reparations. And I was a bit disturbed by her comment, y'all. Let me make this bigger for those of you that are watching on YouTube so you can read along. But yeah, in this article, it says Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez finally slammed the overcrowded conditions for immigrants at the U.S.-Mexican border under President Biden as inhumane, horrifying, unacceptable, and barbaric. I was fine with her with that because she's right. That is definitely inhumane. It is horrifying. It is unacceptable, and it is barbaric. And we could do something better than having these kids and these people in cages. We can be better than that as a nation. But here's where I got a little disturbed with AOC. She says at one point during her virtual town hall, they said the left-wing lawmaker called for reparations for some of the families. Now, I need her not to use the word reparations when she's talking about anything other than those who are descendants of slavery. I need her not to confuse anybody or confuse the conversation. I need her not to do that. AOC, I need you not to do that. I need her not to do that. And I think we need to let her know that reparations is the conversation that we are having in this nation at this time, specific to those who are descendants of slavery. And I appreciated her sentiments for what's happening at the border, but let's not confuse reparations with that, AOC. So this was from yesterday, y'all. I was trying to bring you this article yesterday, and I accidentally deleted, but I went back and found it like I said I would and bring it back to you so you could hear that AOC was out of order with this one, totally out of order. So wanted to bring you some more reparations news. This is about Evanston. We are watching Evanston, Illinois. Watching Evanston, Illinois with reparations. They're the first city in these United States to have an initiative for reparations, but it's specific to housing. During the period of 1919 to 1969, anybody that was Black and discriminated against, I told you there's the problematic word Black, because who can you say is Black? And how do you define that? So here this article says, despite excitement, some experts eye pitfalls in Evanston's reparations program. I told you, I think that at some point there's gonna be some lawsuits. This ain't gonna turn out well. This not gonna turn out well. But wanted to bring you this article. It says many of the recipients of these kind of reparations payments, talking about Evanston, will be middle-class Black people. Here, there's the word Black. Like, who are these Black people? How do you define Black, right? Goes on to say, but these are not super affluent families who have lots of intergenerational wealth. The Black middle class is disproportionately fragile, disproportionately downward mobile across generations, and generally has little to no wealth. This kind of assistance is what can stop the trends that we see in intergenerational downward mobility. Goes on to say the relatively small amount of money in the initial allocation means that Evanston may be designating as few as 16 Black residents to receive funds through the housing initiative. As few as 16 Black, y'all see the word, residents could receive funds through this housing initiative. The money is targeted to descendants, but here they got one word, right? Descendants of Evanstonians who experienced racist housing zoning policies between 1919 and 1969. Yeah. One word, right? Descendants. That's it. I told y'all this thing is really going to be problematic. It says, goes on to say, I'm going to be looking to see what tactics the challengers take in terms of trying to sue Evanston. I told you, in order to shut down this program. This is from the Northwestern political science professor Alvin Tillery. He says, I'm going to be looking to see what tactics the challengers take in terms of trying to sue Evanston in order to shut down this program. They're going to get sued. Let's just wait for it, y'all. Let's just wait for it, because I don't think those 16 Black, air quotes, y'all, these 16 Black families are going to actually get anything. Yeah, let's keep our eyes on Evanston, Illinois. Here's another article. It's about the Jesuits. It says, as American Jesuits are paying racial reparations, it goes on to say other missionary religions should follow their lead. Yeah, let's see. It says in the middle of March, the Jesuits of America pledged to give $100 million to racial healing organizations. The motivator for this was their partnership with the GU 272 Descendants Association, which seeks to remember the 272 slaves that the Jesuits sold in 1838 to help pay debts for Georgetown University. This article goes on to say, when European missionaries came to the Americas, they forced Native Americans to assimilate to their cultures and religions. They believed Native religions were pagan and that Native Americans were less than human because they did not know about Christianity. Article goes on to say historical oppression such as this should force different sects of Christianity to reevaluate their racist past and offer up reparations to heal the communities that still suffer today. Goes on to say some younger missionaries struggle with feeling a white savior complex when given the long history of oppression caused by missionaries before them. So they're sending this generation of young white missionaries out to evangelize, and they don't feel the same way about it. They struggle, y'all. because they understand, they know the history. This last paragraph ends with, though the line of race and religion is a tricky one to dissect, modern day white Christians must admit the wrongdoings of their organizations by giving back to the communities that they harmed long ago. And though no amount of money will replace the lives and cultural values lost because of missionaries of older times, moves to help racial healing in the modern day where it is needed most is the most kind, Christian-like, Christ-like motion that can be done. So there it is, y'all. There it is. Can you hear me over here? He says mute. Give me a thumbs up, y'all, if you can hear me okay. I hope you can hear me. Let me make sure y'all got volume out there in YouTube land. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. So let's, they are mute. That's probably what you're saying. I'm hope you can hear me. All right. Again, another article about reparations. It said reparations for slavery could have reduced COVID-19 spread for all Americans. Reparations for slavery could have reduced COVID-19 spread for all Americans. A new study from Duke and Harvard University suggests that if reparations for Black Americans had been made before the pandemic, overall COVID-19 transmission could have been reduced. The peer-reviewed study looks at the health implications of systemic racism and racial justice interventions. It used the state of Louisiana as a model and concluded that reparations payments could have reduced coronavirus there between 31 to 68%. Now, I just need America to understand that reparations is going to benefit it in its entirety. Like, I just need them to grasp that concept. But the hate and the racism that lives in some people, and they can't see it. They can't see that this is going to stimulate the economy and do great things when you help the least of us, us who are descendants of slaves. Ooh-wee. Reparations, y'all. Get me on my soapbox when we talk about reparations. But I always like to bring you some business news. What's going on in business news? This is Catherine Finney. The Genius Guild emerges from stealth with $5 million to support Black entrepreneurs. So y'all look her up. This is Miss Catherine Finney. Catherine Finney Genius Guild is her initiative. The company emerged from stealth this past Monday, as first reported in last week Midas Touch newsletter, and is looking to use its three-pronged approach to help build a community that allows everyone to win while propelling Black entrepreneurs forward. Finley, who was a member of the National Advisory Council on Innovation and Entrepreneurship in the Obama administration, and later a general partner at the Harriet Fund, says that the first thing the Genius Guild is looking to do is create resources and thought leadership content focused on Black innovation. Finney adds that the new organization is diving in with the new podcast called Build the Damn Thing. I don't know who this Finley lady is. Finney, Catherine Finney, y'all. You see her? But y'all need to find her. Can somebody reach out and let her know that ADOS is out here, and those of us who are descendants of slaves, chattel slavery, that we could use her support. At the end of the article, it says, one more part of it, it says, not just a money problem that we have, those of us that are, trying to do business. It's not just a knowledge problem. It's all of those things together. And a bit of it is also having discussions related to our culture. Y'all, somebody find this lady, Genius Guild, Miss Catherine Finney, and let her know that there's a lot of us out here that could really use her support. Look her up, y'all. Catherine Finney. Let's dive into these bills. Of course, this is always brought to you again by Withhold the Vote, where we hold elected officials and candidates accountable. No more do we go to the polls and give this thing away for free. No more. That game, the pimp game, is over. It's the done deal. We're not doing it. We're not going to do it, y'all. And I didn't say don't vote. Withhold the Vote didn't say don't vote. Withhold the Vote doesn't say that. Don't demonize it, because some people try to say, well, you saying don't vote. Nobody said that. We're going to be strategic. We're going to be intentional. We're not going to the polls and give it away to anybody. You could skip people on the ballot. You could write in your name, write in, vote for somebody else. But no, we're not giving this thing away for free because you got a D behind your name, or you got an R behind your name, or your skin is brown, your skin is white. No, it's over. HR 786, y'all. HR 786, Supporting State and Local Leaders Act. Supporting State and Local Leaders Act. This is Representative Schneider, Bradley Scott Schneider. He's a Democrat out of Illinois. This bill repeals the prohibition against granting state and local governments a tax credit for paid sick and paid family and medical leave. So this is HR 786. Went a little further to look it up. The Supporting State and Local Leaders Act would provide economic relief to localities by fixing the existing law regarding sick leave and family leave by allowing state and local governments access to payroll tax credits for emergency paid sick and family leave as employees are impacted by COVID-19. The Families First Coronavirus Response Act provided paid sick leave for public employers and small private companies, but did not allow a payroll tax credit for the participating government employers. The Supporting State and Local Leaders Act would correct this oversight to provide economic relief to our Commonwealth and localities. So this is HR 786, Representative Snyder, Bradley Snyder, Democrat out of Illinois. HR 787, HR 787, Expanding Student Access to Mental Health Services Act, Expanding Student Access to Mental Health Services Act. This is Representative Allen, Rick Allen. He's a Republican here in Georgia, y'all, Republican out of Georgia. This bill authorizes state and local educational agencies to use student support and academic enrichment grants to improve mental health services available to students. Specifically, it allows funds to be used for identifying and disseminating best practices for mental health first aid, emergency planning, coordination of services, and telehealth services. So this is Representative Rick Scott. He's a Republican here in Georgia. HR 788, HR 788 is to extend the authorization for Augusta Canal National Heritage Area. Y'all, I didn't know where this was. Again, this is Representative Rick Allen, Republican here in Georgia. This bill extends through the fiscal year 2036 the authority of the Department of the Interior to make any grants or provide any assistance for the Augusta Canal National Heritage Area in Georgia. And I'm a Georgia native, y'all, and I do know where Augusta is, been there, but didn't know a whole lot about the Augusta Canal. Looked it up. The Augusta Canal, y'all, is a national heritage area, a place designated by the U.S. Congress that best represent an important theme in American history. The Augusta Canal tells the story of the Industrial Revolution in the American South. Ooh, I didn't know it was that rich in history, y'all. I'm gonna have to, next time we go to Augusta, we may have to go by the canal so that I can get some pictures and get some stories and hear some stuff. I am getting ready to hit the road, and I'll tell you more about that at the end of this broadcast in about 10 minutes. But yeah, we may have to make our way to Augusta, y'all. I think this would be some rich history. I bet there's some serious stories to be told over there. So the Augusta Canal, this is HR 788. HR 789 is the Aid and Attendant Support Act. Representative Representative Colin Allred. He's a Democrat out of Texas. This bill increases the amount of specified Department of Veterans Affairs benefit payments for veterans or their survivors who require aid at home or are in a nursing home. So this is for our veterans and those that require aid at home or in a nursing facility. Representative Allred, he is a Democrat out of Texas. Aid and Attendant Support Act. HR 790. HR 790 is the TABS Act of 2021. This is Representative Barr, Andy Barr, Republican out of Kentucky. Remember, like I said, we won't be experts on who these people are. We won't be experts on all this, but we're going to have enough information to be dangerous. And I think that's the beauty of keeping up with Congress. Remember, I told you this is our homework. We got to have receipts in these political streets in 2022. We can't go to the polls not knowing who the players are, not knowing the game. Some of this legislation you will remember. Some of this legislation, when you see certain legislators, running for office, you're going to remember some of this stuff. Like, wait a minute, wasn't he the one that did, some of this stuff we're going to remember. So again, this is HR 790, the TABS Act of 2021. This bill eliminates provisions that fund the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau using transfers from the earnings of the Federal Reserve System. So I thought this was interesting, y'all, because I'm like, the TABS Act, the Federal Reserve. I dug a little deeper, and this is a pretty serious piece of legislation. This is Congressman Barr. He introduced the Taking Accounts of Bureaucrat Spending, the TABS Act. The TABS Act makes the funding for the CFPB become part of the congressional appropriation process like virtually every other federal agency. So y'all, check this out. This is what he says. For far too long, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has operated unchecked and unaccountable to Congress, says Congressman Barr. Congressional oversight is essential in preventing the sort of political and regulatory overreaches as well as excessive spending that were commonplace at the Bureau in the Obama administration. Here it is. Currently, the over $630 million budget for the CFPB is, here it is, y'all, directly funded by the Federal Reserve and not by Congress. That's interesting. So it is directly funded by the Federal Reserve and not by Congress. It says, at Congressional Barr's request, the Federal Reserve Inspector General investigated the CFPB's budget request process and published a report that found that there is no meaningful review or oversight of the process. Y'all, they just spending over there, right? Woo, that is why Congressman Barr is proposing the TABS Act to bring much needed transparency and accountability to the Bureau's spending. Ooh, they making it rain over there in the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They just got money and they no oversight. HR 790, HR 790. HR 791 is Tracking COVID Variants Act. Tracking COVID Variants Act. This is Representative Barra, Democrat out of California, the variants for COVID. She said this bill was introduced as bicameral legislation to dramatically scale up the United States capacity to detect and respond to coronavirus variants. The United States is currently conducting sequence-based surveillance on approximately 0.3% of coronavirus cases, lagging far behind other nations. It is critical that the U.S. scale up its efforts to survey at least 15% of cases to better grasp new and emerging variants, understand their origins, and develop mitigation strategies. So this is Representative Barra. She is a Democrat out of California, tracking the COVID-19 variants. HR 792, HR 792, Barriers to Suicide Act of 2021. This is Representative Bayer, Donald S. Bayer. He's a Democrat out of Virginia. Representative Bayer. This legislation, this bipartisan legislation, would create grants for states and local governments to fund nets and barriers on bridges, which have been shown to reduce suicide. The Barriers to Suicide Act would help strengthen our national response to the alarming American epidemic of suicide, said Representative Don Bayer. Restricting the means of suicide saves lives, and this bipartisan bill would help fund a proven method for state and local governments to do that. I hope my colleagues will continue to support this and other legislation solutions to prevent suicide. So this is Don Bayer putting up barriers on bridges and some nets to make sure that it's not easy for people to commit suicide. Amen. HR 792, Democrat out of Virginia. HR 793, HR 793 is the Restaurants Act, y'all. Restaurants Act of 2021. You know, they've been hit hard in this pandemic. This bill temporarily establishes and provides funding for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, from which the Department of the Treasury shall make grants to eligible food and beverage purveyors to cover specified costs such as payroll, operational expenses, and paid sick leave. So this is the Restaurants Act of 2021. This is Democrat out of Oregon. His name is Earl Blumenauer. I hope I pronounced it right. HR 793. HR 794 is the Climate Emergency Act of 2021. Climate Emergency Act of 2021. This is Blumenauer again, Democrat out of Oregon. This bill, he says, let me go back up. Today, U.S. Representative Earl Blumenauer, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Senator Bernie Sanders introduced legislation mandating the declaration of a national climate emergency. The National Climate Emergency Act directs the President of the United States to declare a national climate emergency and mobilize every resource at the country's disposal to halt, reverse, mitigate, and prepare for the consequences of this climate crisis. This is a statement by Bernie Sanders. He says, as we face the global crisis of climate change, in addition to other crises we face, it is imperative that the United States lead the world in transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. What we need now is congressional leadership to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and tell them that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of the planet. Climate change is a national emergency, and I am proud to be introducing this legislation with my House and Senate colleagues. So this is the Climate Emergency Act of 2021. We almost there, y'all. HR 795. We're on our last one for the evening. HR 795 is the Coronavirus Assistance for American Families Act. Now, y'all gonna find this one interesting too, because this one is about where that $1,400 came from. Where that whole conversation for $1,400 come from? Because Joe Biden said we was getting $2,000 if y'all delivered Warnock and Ossoff. So that's what Joe Biden said. But where did this $2,000 come from? So here it is, y'all. HR 795. HR 7. Let me write that down. We're going to come back and we might have to refer to this one day. I told you we got to have our tools here. These are going to be what we use maybe to negotiate some stuff here. But HR 795, let me tell you what it said. This was introduced by Lisa Blunt Rochester, Democrat, Delaware at large. Let me tell y'all what this thing said. Here it goes. Introduced is bipartisan legislation calling for direct payments to American families to provide much needed relief in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is where that $1,400 came from, y'all. The Coronavirus Assistance for American Families Act will provide a direct payment of $1,400 to adults and an additional $1,400 to any dependents, including the elderly of those with disabilities. Nearly 8 in 10 Americans support issuing $1,400 direct payments, which is also included in the President's American Rescue Plan. Now, this came out on February the 5th, y'all. This was a press release then. So this is where the $1,400 came from, because that sure wasn't what Joe Biden said. Y'all remember this bill, HR 795. Y'all might have to refer to it one day. Goes on to say, today's weak job reports highlights how American families are struggling and need immediate relief. More than half of households have reported major financial challenges due to the economic and public health crisis. So that's the explanation for it. But let me read this last paragraph as we head out. As we continue to battle against the health and economic implications of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the most effective policies that Congress has instituted is direct payments. While I was pleased that a $600 direct payment made it into the last COVID relief package. The reality is that American families are struggling and need more support. So y'all, this is where the other $1,400 came from. Y'all just put this in your arsenal because you might need to refer back to it one day. We might have to use this because now we know where it came from. There it is. Representative Blunt Rochester, Lisa Blunt Rochester, Democrat at large out of Delaware. So we made it, y'all. We are at the half hour. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, y'all. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. I do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just have two asks of you. I'm going to ask this of you, y'all. Just know that I'm getting on the road next week. I'm not going to say a whole lot for security reasons about where I'm going, but just know I'm going to be out there for 3 straight days around the state of Georgia. We're going to be talking about HB 541. I'm going out to spread the word about this House bill. If you don't know, please go to the website and look it up. But this is monumental legislation. It creates a commission that will recommend appropriate remedies for the descendants of slavery, y'all. This is Georgia's reparations without saying reparations, because we know reparations is federal. But if we could get the conversation going right here in the great state of Georgia, it will be phenomenal. So we're taking this bill on the road. So if you can donate, please do. We're going to need gas. We're going to need flyers. We're going to need food. We're going to need some stuff, y'all. We got to pay for how we moving around. We got to pay for where we sleep. Y'all, we're going to need some dollars. So whatever you can contribute, please do. Please go to the website, hb541.net. No donation is too small. You'll see pictures. Of course, I'm going to do videos. I'm going to keep you updated. It's like you're going to be out there with me, but we have to take this on the road, and we have to talk about reparations around the state of Georgia. We're not going to allow the next U.S. Senate race, which is 2022, rolling around. Trust me, Raphael Warnock better be having this conversation about reparations. But if he's not, no worries. We're going to do it. We're going to push this narrative. Also, of course, this is always brought to you by Withhold the Vote, withholdthevote.org. Go to the website if you want to be a part of what we're doing. We meet now every Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern to go over the bills. We got new bills on the website. If you go click on Black Agenda right here, click on Black Agenda, you'll see we got new bills on the website. Plus, we have plenty more that we're working on. That's just a handful of them. That's about a dozen of them, but we have plenty more. There's a lot of stuff that, we got to keep our hands and stay very engaged in politics, y'all. We have to. 2022 is right around the corner. We can't let this Biden administration rock us back to sleep. All right. Good night, everybody. Just know if you're able to support this broadcast and my Saturday broadcast, hit me up on the Cash App. VTHE, Tamara for FOR, Georgia spelled out. So the Tamara for Georgia on the Cash App. If you're able to hit me on the Cash App, give us something. Just do what you can. It takes all of this to keep this thing going and to stay in this fight. So again, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification button, and share. And of course, I will see you tomorrow night. And of course, I will put all your comments on the screen on our way out. Have a good night, everybody.